says that the stream is offline for me.
I just hit the go live button. Give it just a moment.
Are we live? Looks live to me.
Are we live?
I think we're live. Hey, everybody!
Hello.
And we're live!
Yep. Boy, that wasn't a butchered start at all.
No.
No, totally.
Ain't at all.
Yeah. So we are officially live. Hey, everybody! How's it going? Who messaged me? Oh
That would
no,
be
it's all
me.
good. That would be you that messaged me. All
Yeah.
right. We are so first things first. Let's just get this out of the way. If you haven't noticed, we have a new fancy layout that was put together by our wonderful sound designer Kay, who happens to be super multi-talented. That dude is amazing. You should check him out and give him loads of love.
Yeah,
Um,
props to him.
It looks great from what I saw of it.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. It's
Um,
got bleepy things all over it. Everything moves.
It's
yep.
animated.
It's animated. What?
It's
Hell
awesome.
yeah. Thank you so much, Bo.
Yeah, thank you,
Um,
Bo. Don't worry, we're thinking of you.
Yep. So we are talking today about. Oh, I guess another thing. We're finally back on our official schedule.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank fucking Christ.
How long has it been since we did a podcast not only on time, but on the scheduled day?
It's been a hot minute.
It feels like it's been almost a month. It could have been 2 weeks, but it feels like it's been a month.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. So
I leave home for a few days.
well, the problem is that you left home. Yeah, Forrest is back, by the way. Everybody give Forrest a round of applause.
Yeah,
Oh my
that.
for somehow surviving Europe.
Yep.
I should also preface right now that I am sick and I will try to mute my fits of coughing, but if I sound occasionally like I'm trying to hurl up a lung, that's why. Yes, apologies.
Understandable. Have a nice day. So Forrest is back. Welcome back, Forrest. We just got to get Cole back in here.
Cole and Bo.
Yep. And so we've we're back. We should be sticking with the Sunday at 8 p.m. Pacific time now for the rest of the season, which I believe we only have 3 episodes of Attack on Titan left this season.
Really?
Yeah, this is supposed to be 10 episodes. I'm not sure from where we started, but
yeah,
definitely we're running short.
But yeah, so today we're talking about Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 56, The Basement. We made it, guys! 6 years later, we made it to the basement.
Time.
God dang.
Dude, it has taken us far too long just to reach a friggin' basement.
It's just the basement. What could be in this basement?
We
don't
still
know.
don't know.
I know that's okay. Spoiler alert for this entire episode. We still don't know.
We
I mean,
still
we
don't know.
sort of got an answer.
No, we didn't.
We have the shadow on the wall of an answer.
Okay, but like y'all did see the end credit scene, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But
all right.
We'll get
there. We'll get there.
That's still a drop in the bucket of, you know.
Yeah. So, we open up this episode where Armin is dreaming of the Colossal Titan. And the Colossal Titan cries. That's got to be one of the most terrifying dream ideas I've ever seen. It's just you wake up and then there's this giant head.
Yeah. In terms of numbers, that's up there.
Yep.
That's up.
So I kind of have
before
questions.
He knew anything about what happened, right?
So I have some questions regarding this because I know that Eren ate Grisha, right? Like he ate his dad. That's how he gained the Titan powers.
That's fairly...
Yep. But like, how I is there some kind of deeper meaning behind this dream? Like, is Berthold now like a part of Armin? Um, like, because if so, that's real fucked up.
I think that
I mean, it's,
spiritually, because he devoured Berthold, he may feel that way.
Okay.
I don't. As far as we've seen, we haven't seen any kind of, for lack of a better word, because I've been rewatching the first season of Avatar this weekend. Like having different iterations of you know yourself, and you can like kind of go back and talk to yourself
Hmm.
from different past lives, kind of thing. As far as we've seen, we haven't seen Aaron's dad in his head and be like, "Yo, Aaron, you're doing it wrong," or something
Hmm.
like, which might have been nice at some point in his life, but because he does a lot of things wrong. But
Yeah.
we haven't really seen that, so I wouldn't at this time. Like, sure, we can speculate that maybe that's a thing that now
Hmm.
Bertold is not dead. Dead. He's just living in Armin's head, but
Right.
for now, we can just call this kind of a nightmare dream sequence thing of
Yeah.
like he maybe subconsciously realized and didn't consciously realize that until they told him, oh hey, by the way, you ate him.
Hmm.
To which his response is like, oh, let me throw up into this bag for a second.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, probably that's a heck of a you wake up, you're like, hey, what happened, did we win? And like, yeah, we kind of did, only we kind of saved you instead of the main commander guy, and also you ate somebody, and now you're a Titan.
hmm.
Congratulations!
Welcome to the Cannibal Club.
You're like, that's a lot to take in, and okay.
Yep. Um, and so, yeah, because Armin doesn't really remember anything after Berthold transforms, so they explain it to everyone. Also, everyone's best girl, Sasha, is in bad shape.
I'm surprised he's not dead. Honestly, when she got like skewered by the big piece of wood, I was okay. Wow, yeah, she's probably dead.
Hmm.
But
But like,
I I kind of figured that Hanji wasn't dead in the last couple of.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they all died. Like, nah, not Hanji.
not
She's got
Hanji.
like a life.
um,
She's too cool to die.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, she is.
got
Uh,
that, got that plot armor.
Plot
well,
armor.
the show does have a little bit of plot armor. You're not wrong. Of all of the scout, I mean that's what this episode was. They're like, okay, so the entire scout regiment went to Shashana, and there's 9 of them left out of maybe like 200, 300, maybe
Hmm.
200. I don't know. There's 9. That's a good.
How
It's a good.
many of them do we care about? Oh, they're the only ones we care about?
Yeah,
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
there's.
That
yeah,
makes sense now.
Yep,
This
there
is
are
plot
now.
armor.
but we lost one.
We
We
lost
That's
lost
one.
actually
our man.
that's a very important point, right? Is that there are now the entire scout regiment is now comprised of 9 people. That's all that's left.
Yep.
We're gonna have to do recruiting, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
I
A
mean,
little bit.
hey,
more
nothing
characters to become immediately disposable and killed off, sure.
exactly. But nothing says join the scout regiment like, hey, we had our most successful operation ever. Also, one of our most lethal, but not quite.
No, I think
I
we're
don't
not
think not.
quite.
I don't think it's one of their most lethal. I think this was their most lethal mission.
Yeah, I think the
I'm
not
I'm
quite part should be omitted. I think it was
I'm
the most
pretty
lethal.
sure they've had a couple of missions where like an entire subsection of the scout regiment went out and just no one came back.
I
Like
mean, a
any of their
subsection,
sorties
sure, but this is
outside the.
everyone.
Okay, in terms of like percentage of the scout regiment disposed of in a single instance, yeah, it's probably pretty up there.
Yeah,
Now
like
they have a newly minted commander who was their previous researcher, and now they have to recruit people and train up a new scout regiment, which I think
yeah,
is probably going to be a big part of the next arc.
I
Probably.
I agreed. And I'll tell you what I'm real excited for. I think I said this in the last podcast too. I am so fucking ready for Commander Hanji.
Yeah, so am I.
Like I am on board.
I think everybody is on board. Try and find somebody who would object. Those will be
Right.
few
Join
and
us.
far
We have.
between.
Do you want to dissect a Titan? Well, now's your chance.
um, so Hanji explains that they're probably going to be punished for insubordination, and that she, quite frankly, does believe that saving Erwin would have been a better choice. Jesus, I can't talk. But what's done is
Repeating.
done,
Yeah.
and they need to keep moving. Um, and Levi is like, he insists that he doesn't regret his decision. He's like, nah, I'm fucking Levi. Like, I made my decision. I stand by it. Um, and he's also like, and Armin, you should stand by that decision too. Like,
Right. Well, he said that's your new goal. Like your mission in life is to not regret living when Erwin died.
yeah. And
Right.
he's like,
That's your new task.
yeah. And Levi's like, I'm not gonna regret my decision, but don't make your friends regret their decision for sticking up for you.
Yeah.
You know.
You got to live up to the legacy now. Like you're not gonna be Erwin. Ain't nobody can do that. But
Mhm.
you gotta do your own thing. And to be fair, he's done a lot. You know.
Yeah, I will say I'm very, very happy with the development that Armin has gotten. Um, I wish they would give some of that development to, like, Aaron or Mikasa. um,
Yeah. I
because
think.
Armin, like Armin at this point, I think is of the main three characters the best developed character because when we first met him, he was weak. He was basically useless. And he just kind of contributed a smart idea every now and again. Like he was just the token smart character. But
That's
now the fact
anyway.
that he's the token smart character has actually started to pay off in a really big way, other than just being like, ah, yes, we need a character that's going to be smart enough to get them out of a bad situation. Now he's no longer their cop out for how to get out of a bad situation. He is, I have a plan to move the story forward, right?
Well,
I have a
that,
plan for a mission, you know.
that and he's also a portable nuke.
That too.
He's basically a human suitcase nuke at this point.
um so I'm really, really happy with how they've developed Armin over the course of it. Like, whereas Aaron and Mikasa, like Aaron has gotten some and Mikasa has gotten practically nothing. Like, she's
he's
always been the badass character from the get-go.
he's a very Mary Sue character. Yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
good at everything that she does, but she really does the one.
Yeah,
And, and they
she's got two character traits. It's badass, good at everything, and loves Aaron. Like
and
that,
will sacrifice everything because he gave her us.
because he gave her a scarf. Yeah.
But
Yep.
no, I mean it's more than just the scarf. It's that scene, and they still haven't explained. Okay, so here's a question, right? This is kind
Uh-huh.
of tangent, but here's like, so they haven't really gone into any. They established that Mikasa and Lee are related somehow.
Right.
They're both Ackermans of some kind, and the Ackerman family is this old line of warriors of the king, right? So
Mm-hmm.
their ability to totally just own Titans is not something they come by just from intense training. It's a magic power of itself in and of itself,
Right.
right? The little lightning that appears, that they're Mikasa's moment when the robbers are in her house or whatever. In there, is it her house or Aaron's house? I don't remember.
It's her house.
But she like gains strength, breaks the floor with her stomp, and then like stabs the guy to death. Like
Right.
that moment, and that's why she's sweet on Aaron, is because I guess he was instrumental in her getting to that point. I don't know, but and not just the scarf.
I mean, okay, but so seriously, I mean, I know that I've talked to you about this before, and I may have even said this on the podcast before, but like my problem with that, because that's all well and good, right?
Yeah.
My problem is that Aaron saved her ass like once.
Yeah, that one time.
She has saved his ass I don't know how many times. Like, girl, your debt's repaid.
You
Now
don't
that he
owe
did
him
it first, his life is
Like-
hers forever. That's it. Game over.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is. it does make me wonder though. So we've got you know, kind of like this is a kind of a far field tangent, but maybe not on this particular channel with the Ruby stuff, right? We have our four main Ruby gals and their four maiden powers, and hey, wouldn't it be convenient if each of our four main characters wound up with one of the maiden powers at the end of the show? You know, that there's been, you know, no end of speculation on that front, right? And who would get what powers and all of that, right? We've definitely done that on the podcast previously.
Many a time.
Many times. But now we've got, so Aaron has his Screamy Titan power, and now Armin's got the Colossal Titan. Does that mean Mikasa's gonna get the Armored Titan power at some point?
It would be rather fitting.
There's three of them, and there's the Beast Titan too, I guess, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, who cares about him?
I mean, do you really? No. I think Mikasa needs to get like Annie's power or something like that.
Annie's powers would be cool, but I think that's just a bit too much of like pairing up the only female Titan we know with the only female, you know, badass who's supposed to get Titan powers.
You don't think that's exactly why they do it though?
I mean, you're not wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to think a little further outside the box.
They did specifically describe, and I don't know if this is like a mistranslation or something, but they did specifically describe like Annie's Titan as the female Titan, and like its power is the female Titan power.
Yeah, like I'd want her to have the Armor Titan because the Armor Titan is unconquerably powerful. Like it
right.
took
Like,
how many
if she
Thunder
wasn't OP
Spears
enough
to open that up?
Yeah. So.
Well, no, I mean, Beast Titan does pretty all right, man.
Yeah, but the Beast Titan sucks.
He throws
Beast Titan's
rocks
creepy.
so good.
Yeah, if you're looking to play baseball, you play the Beast Titan.
But, so basically to keep things moving, one of the things that I really liked that Hanji said, even after she was like kind of brutal and was like, yeah, no, I think Erwin would have been a better choice. Sorry, Armin. Like, after she's like brutal, she's like, but the thing is Erwin trusted Levi to make the decision. And I trust Erwin. So Armin, you have some expectations that you have to live up to. Like, you now have a tremendous weight on your shoulders for being the one who was saved instead of Erwin. Like, you have to make yourself real useful. And I identify with that because I'm the one who has to fill Erwin's shoes. Like, I have to be the commander of the scout regiment now.
Well, I kind of got like she was saying like, yo, you know, neither one of us is Erwin, but maybe, you know, together. Like, I think she was kind of like trying to share some of that burden, being like, yo, you got to help me out here because I'm kind of in the same boat that you are, in that I don't know how to live up to that man. Like,
yeah,
dude was really smart.
Yeah.
Like, he lost an arm and just kept on going. So like,
yeah,
you know, beat that. Like, so I mean, and yeah. And that's I think when Levi stepped in, he was like, yo, so, you know, like, don't regret me saving you or anything, right?
Yeah.
So
Erwin trusted me to make the decision. I made I don't regret that decision.
So there's a comment in the chat by Jamel. Beast Titan can also control Titans, though. I don't think that's true. Like, when the other Titans appeared, they just popped up like they were other human beings. I don't think he can control
Well, no, he was
them.
giving them orders.
I mean, he was giving them orders, but it's like there were people in there, too, because when they popped up, they weren't just, oh, they're just Titans there. Oh, we had the same color effects as a person becoming a Titan. I don't think it was him controlling the Titans. I think it was the people in the Titans obeying his orders.
Do you think those were all flesh mechs? What do we call them?
Flesh mechs? I would like to
I
think
mean,
so.
no, I think that that's the case for all the Titans, but those Titans didn't talk. I got the impression that he has the ability to like kind of control some of the more mindless Titans, because like if they weren't mindless, I don't think they would have just sat there while Levi went down the line and just slaughtered one after another to
That's
make
fair.
it to the
Yeah.
beat Titan.
I mean,
Well,
it
they
could be
would have. They
affecting
would
the
have at least tried to.
transformation, but we have no evidence of that as yet, so that's probably a bit more accurate.
They were. Well, because remember Mr. Fingerguns, right?
Mm-hmm.
The legendary Mr. Fingerguns Titan. Right, they were aberrant, right? All of those big guys
Yeah.
were aberrant Titans. So they weren't like generic run of the mill Titans, but they also weren't piloted ones.
Yeah.
Like consciously piloted ones, Like yes, all of the Titans have a person in their neck. That's why cutting the neck kills them. But
Mm-hmm.
whether that person is consciously able to control the Titan is another story, right? So
Yeah.
we still know next to nothing, and this episode of discovering the secret in the basement still tells us next to nothing about the military structure of the world outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right? We don't.
to
We
say
don't
that
know.
we've been drip-fed information would be a grand understatement. Most other anime would have explained most everything that happened in this world and why it happened and how it mattered by now.
Drip fed. This episode was the drip feeding. The previous episode was the cold turkey. You're gonna go without any plot development for the next 2 seasons while we go find this freaking basement.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're finally here, and they finally cracked it open. And well, let's get to the basement part, I guess.
Yeah. So
It took them.
Aaron, Mikasa, and Aaron, Mikasa, Levi, and Hanji all head for the basement.
It takes them half the episode to get to the friggin' basement.
Yeah, it does.
This whole episode was so much suspense of like, man, we're getting close to the basement, and every step they gotta go around, and they see the basket, and they're like,
yeah, they're like they go and they
oh,
reminisce
there.
about their lives growing up there and whatnot.
Well, it's a lot of callbacks to the first episode when we see that idyllic life torn apart, right? Because there's a lot of remnants of that first episode, right? They see the box with the cards and the chairs where Hans, is that his name? Hans was sitting with the
Yeah, I
guys
think
getting
it's
drunk.
Hans.
R.I.P. Hans. And then they see the house, and it's like all mossy now, just like years later.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a little trip down memory lane, and it's not a particularly pleasant trip, but it's all very suspenseful as they're.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it
Now-
was pleasant for anyone involved. The people who were doing the reminiscing or the people watching them reminisce.
Yeah, like so
The freaking basement already.
so like they make it there, and they like clean all the wreckage off, and then they walk down to the basement, and then the key doesn't fit. Now I gotta
Dang it.
I like okay. I have to explain my reaction to that there. Because when the key didn't fit, I was like, you better not fucking do it. Like, you better not. It's been 6 years. Like, we cannot get to this point and then have you give us fucking nothing.
Yeah, that was my
Like-
same reaction.
This entire season has been get to the basement, get to the basement, get to the, and then they get to the basement and they're like, the key doesn't work. Wow.
Yeah, like, and so Levi's like, Levi's reaction was my reaction. He's like, get the fuck out of the way. I'm busting down this door.
I'm sure that was literally the author just cucking the audience
like,
on purpose.
Levi and his kicking, yeah.
yeah, so he just kicks in the door. They search the basement, and it just looks like a typical doctor's study. And then Mikasa finds a keyhole in a drawer, and
It was like in the side of the desk. It's like a secret drawer.
Yeah. Now, okay, but like, first of all, secret drawer 101, right? Maybe don't put a really obvious keyhole in it if you want it to be secret.
I mean,
Just saying.
yeah.
I mean, like, whatever.
Well, like, again, this was down in the basement. If anybody did come down there, right? They're probably not going to go around to that side of the desk. They're not probably going to see that keyhole unless they're kind of like looking for the keyhole. And even then, the hidden drawer in the side of the desk has a false bottom.
A false bottom that Levi figured out in literally half a second.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
after you find a secret drawer, and I mean, we kind of.
Let me put it this way: if you were to open, like, if you're doing a cursory search, let's say you, for whatever reason, found the hidden drawer and opened it, you'd be just looking for. You would probably think that the books that were in there initially, or I suppose whatever else should have been the contents of that drawer at the time, because I imagine that there was probably supposed to be like something covering it, like a couple of books. You would think those would be the contraband.
Well, you're right. Levi does clean a lot. He probably he's probably found a few secret drawers that okay, that's fair.
Levi's cleaning best.
Levi is best housewife confirmed.
So, yeah, Levi, number one waifu.
Levi's just become best girl of the franchise. And he's not.
Yeah. So
they find the secret drawer. They discover it's a false bottom, and what's in it?
Books.
Three friggin' books.
And so I gotta now.
And some
this whole episode, getting down to the basement, had me on edge for ways that the author was going to fuck us. First it was the door. I was like, you better not. And then we got to the drawer, and the drawer was empty, and I was like, you better not.
I mean, that was all very intentional, I'm sure.
And then they opened the drawer and found the books, and I was like, if those books are written in a language we can't read, I swear to God.
I was gonna say, my first thought was that they're written in that weird language that only Ymir can read, and it's like, God dang it, they're useless.
Thankfully, that is not the case.
Well, we don't actually know that. So after they pull these books out, and they're like, Aaron goes or Levi's like, okay, you gotta open the book now. We gotta see what's in there. And Aaron puts his hand on the book.
Han's just reading the back of the. Just reading the back of the.
Gonna open it. And then Mikasa has to help him open it, and it's like, God, just open the book. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
just a book.
What did you put iron in it? Open the book.
Oh, the dramatic tension is so much.
Yeah, so they open the book. Now here's the thing, because Forrest's right. We don't actually know what language the books are written in. All we know was that the picture, what was written on the back of the photograph, was legible.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's a picture book. Maybe it's just a book.
Yeah, a picture book. They came all this way to the basement for a friggin' picture book. Yeah, right.
I mean, if it's a picture book of these guys are just like a photograph. Oh, a graph. I see what's that? This is all. The very notion of being able to capture a still image from real life is alien to them. So, even if it was just the one picture, they'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
clearly the technology outside is more advanced than our own.
Yes. And what Grisha has written on the back of that photograph is, I come from a place outside the walls where humanity lives in elegance. Humanity has not perished. I pray the person who finds this book is a fellow patriot.
Yeah, that's interesting. A fellow
patriot. That line, I pray the person who finds this book is a fellow patriot. That's a very interesting choice of words, fellow patriot.
Well, and especially because, what is patriotism to him?
Right.
Because we have this very interesting situation. We just had a big battle between two sides. We're going to ignore the evil lords and their false king, and they're trying to usurp the throne kind of thing, because they've sort of been dealt with, at least for the moment.
Right.
But we've got two sides of this, right? We've got the guys inside the wall who are generally, right, they're just trying to live their lives in the walls, and they're trying to figure out why their king erased everybody's memories and all this nonsense. And then we have the people outside the wall who, even though they're like, yeah, you guys aren't evil, you aren't, monsters, but all of you need to die still, right? That's what they're told them, right? He's like, I don't care if you're bad people or not. All of humanity inside the walls needs to die. We've already made this decision for you, right?
Right.
Like, so obviously these are two very different sides of what one might consider patriotic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have allegiance to whatever allegiance these guys outside the wall have. They're willing to kill thousands upon thousands of innocent people to do, to stand by their creed. So, what does Grisham mean when he says patriot?
Yeah.
Does he mean allegiance to whatever their allegiance is to, or does he mean, maybe not murdering thousands of innocent people? Right? What side did he fall onto? Because he stayed inside the walls. He had a family inside the walls, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he was a turncoat.
Yeah.
I mean, he did try to usurp the king's power and stuff, but we don't really know. And it seems like the bad guys, quote unquote, the bad guys, Monkey Man and company, don't know very much about his motives either, from the little snippets of their conversation that we've seen, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for the power that he stole too, and so I mean, I don't know. We don't have the complete picture. No one seems to have the complete picture.
Yeah, no. And
it's kind of what the show is all about, honestly.
Yeah, and so, but they don't completely stiff us though, because that is technically where they end the episode, right? That's where we get the end. That's where they run the end credits.
Yeah, that would be kind of a. That would be.
No,
kind
now, there is one thing that happens before that though.
Oh, what?
And which I mean, technically it happens chronologically. It happens after, but in the order of the episode, it happens beforehand. There's a part where they flash forward to all of the military people talking about the operation, and Levi and Erwin's exceptional brain, and the fact that like this one dude is like, I thought he was crazy, but like I should have listened to him, right? And they're like, oh well, you can tell him when he gets back. Well, about that, but
yep.
So but then there's a person who runs in and is like, hey, the scouts are back. They fucking did it. They took back Wall Maria. And so they are there on top of the wall. Everyone is like, I think they're there in Trost, I want to say.
I don't know. All of the cities kind of look the same, to be honest.
Yeah. But they've arrived. They're standing heroically on top of the wall, and literally everybody down below is praising them, and everyone's rejoicing at the fact that they Wall Maria. And
here's the thing, though: the scouts are not actually in the streets parading. The city has just heard the news that the scouts have returned, and that they were victorious.
Yeah,
and I think there's a very good reason for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's still, if anybody is like, oh, if any one of those townspeople is like, oh, well, so many of them died, it was too costly. Like, at that point, I want to punch that person, because it's like, fuck you, be grateful. We just took back, like, all of our land.
Yeah. You can go back to being a farmer now instead of being poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your house that's probably smushed, but you know what? You just build a new house.
Build a new house and go make some food.
Mostly free of Titans, probably.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that's going to be part of recruitment.
So we've now after the end credits, they don't completely stiff us. We get an end credit scene that gives us a new perspective on Grisha.
Shows us a little bit of the world outside, and it's different. I don't know, when it said when his little description on the back of the photo said everything, everybody lives in elegance or something. I was like, oh, okay, so like opulence and high times, maybe, but I mean, it had some very different vibes for me.
Well, to be fair, right? First of all, the first clue that it wasn't like super super modern should have been that the photograph was black and white,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I wasn't expecting like computers.
Right, yeah.
But
But we also don't actually have a perfect picture of this world yet because it appears that Grisha lived in essentially a ghetto. Um, I got some very Holocausty vibes.
there were, yeah. Well, anytime you have like ghettos, armbands, and airships involved,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Nazi vibes. Not
Yep.
because that's what this show needed, right?
Yep.
This show with giant man-eating monsters and horrific death scenes and whatever it is that the evil general, not evil, but the head military guy did to that one lord, whatever that was.
Yep.
That's what this show needed.
It needed Nazis.
Great.
What is this, Wolfenstein?
Nah, Helsing Ultimate. But so uh they've got armbands. He's got a sister named Faye. And actually one of the first things that I noticed that I really appreciated, right? So the composer for Attack on Titan is one of the most famous action composers for anime ever, Hiroyuki Sawano. Right? He's done Attack on Titan, Kill la Kill, Kabaneri. He's done a bunch of stuff. By the way, Ian, I watched Kabaneri.
You finally got around to watching Kabaneri?
Yeah, we should talk. We should talk about that after the podcast.
We will definitely be talking about that after the podcast, which we're coming very close to the end of.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, really, he's an awesome composer. He's one of my favorite composers, favorite Japanese composers, and I really appreciated because he has a very distinct style. No matter what show he's working on, you can always tell that it's him. When we got to this new part, like in this new world, the vibe and the whole style of the music changed pretty drastically. I've never actually heard him tackle something like that before. And I could tell that he was very consciously trying to set a completely different tone for this world, completely different kind of score for it. And I just really appreciate it.
I'll have to go back and re-listen to it, yeah.
I concur. I'll have to do that.
But anyways, when Grisha and his sister are getting ready to leave, his mom is like, "You absolutely must not leave the walls." Which to me,
where have we heard that before?
Yeah, to me, I was thinking Promise Neverland. Like, you absolutely must not go to the gate, right?
Well, I was just thinking, walls, like the rest of the just because you're in a slightly more modern setting, doesn't mean that they don't still have walls that keep everybody in. And where are the Titans, right? Presumably there are still Titans, right?
Okay, who wants to bet that Grisha's mom is going to end up dead? It's fucking anime moms, right?
Anime moms in a show that has a history of killing anime moms in a show that is
I'm sorry.
family.
You're a mother. You're dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's an airship. So it does give us a sense of at least a little bit about how well developed this world is. They've got blimps.
Not airplanes yet, but airships.
Yep.
I mean, possibly airplanes.
I mean, who knows? Maybe.
It was a pretty advanced. It wasn't like a hot air balloon kind of airship. Like it was a pretty darn advanced.
It was like a Zeppelin kind of deal.
Probably like a helium one. So Hindenburg time, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or even a little bit later, possibly. That's like something that we could have today, honestly.
Yeah. So they talk like Grisha and Faye talk a little bit about how much it must be nice to be rich, but they'll never be rich. Um, and so in order, yeah, and so in order to show his sister a better world, Grisha is like, you know what, fuck it, and he does. Who could have guessed exactly what he was told not to do? And he run past the wall.
To go
And
look at the airship, to go to
yep,
the landing strip, right?
and
The airport.
it was that and then his narration tells us that it was that single move of naivete that started Grisha's whole story.
It probably got his whole family killed, and probably
Yep.
led to him stumbling blindly outside of the walls of current Attack on Titan Town, whatever it's called. We don't actually.
Yeah. Is hey Forrest or Ian, is Forrest quiet for you?
No, he's not. But I'm hearing that we need to turn up the mics, so I'm just going to turn this up just a little bit.
Okay.
Oh.
That should be a whole lot better now.
Okay. So now here's an interesting thing, right? Because that's where the episode ends. But we've seen what happens when Titans transform, right?
Yes.
Usually there's a big flash of light, and some lightning and shit. And in the case of the Colossal Titan, it's just a nuke.
Well, as of this season, it's a nuke. I think previously it was also just big flashes of lightning, but then they were like, "Yo, what
nuke.
made it a nuke?" That's cooler.
Well, okay, no, that's not entirely true, because it was like the only times that we've seen the Colossal Titan, he transformed outside the wall, both for Shiganshina and for Trost.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he like those walls are pretty sturdy, so I could understand them standing up to an explosion of that force, right? And the only other time since then that we've seen him transform, aside from this big transformation in the middle of Shiganshina, was at the other wall when they were doing the search in season 2, and that wasn't a full transformation. It was just the torso.
Yeah. Well, it's also possible that he can control, like, because maybe there's the transforming bit, and then his power, besides just being freaking massive, is the whole heat expel thing.
Right.
So it's possible that he can transform without expelling a ton of heat, or he can transform and expel all that heat, and that's when you get the explosion thing.
Yeah.
It may be variable.
Yeah. So there's that stuff. Now, so we know what the transformations are supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice that on the armbands, there seemed to be like this sort of explosion symbol.
Maybe it's a. I'm trying to look at it now. Actually, it's a star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 9-pointed star, but it's like it's weird because it's 3 on top and it's
it's like kind of lopsided.
It's a weird shaped. I mean, stars and things. There's definitely a Nazi reference in there.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But why it's such a weird looking star, I don't know. Other than they didn't want to make it be a 6-pointed star.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't want to be too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if they made it a regular looking star with like an even number of points, or like they're evenly spaced points, then it would be too obvious. Yeah, well, we'll put a bunch on the bottom.
It's already pretty obvious.
Well,
but
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't actually an armband; it was a patch that you had to wear. But the Nazis, for their uniform, the SS uniform had an armband. Thing, so that's where that. So it's combining the SS uniform, the star, and so we get the symbolism, guys.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I'm just kind of speculating as to why they specifically might be quarantined behind this wall.
I
Um,
don't think we have any particular clues aside from any historical pokes and references by the author at this time.
because the thing is, right, there are multiple people who have come in from outside the wall. And in each case, they all have these Titan powers. So there is definitely, like, I think there's questions to be speculated on as to whether or not everyone in this society that Grisha comes from has Titan powers, or if that's something that was maybe bestowed upon them as like punishment or something. I don't know.
Or perhaps they were
It's an
implanted,
interesting. Yeah,
like
that's why they're quarantined.
agents.
Mm-hmm. Because like it's not the first case of someone being transformed into a Titan as punishment that we've seen. We've seen the church do that in the case of Ymir.
Yeah.
Did they know?
Yeah.
Oh, because she was running years as so we don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's.
So there's definitely some interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But
it almost looked like a comet.
Yeah. Now here's some interesting here's some interesting reference too as well. We are told that the next episode is called That Day. Now, the first episode of Attack on Titan is titled To You, 2,000 Years in the Future, The Fall of Shiganshina. And
is it?
It is. The second episode of Attack on Titan is also titled That Day.
Oh dear. This is going to be big.
Huh.
There is
Wait, the first To You 2,000 years in the future, and then That Day, Fall of Shiganshina. Yeah. Huh.
Mm-hmm. So they seem to be we seem to have finally reached this point where they're tying stuff back.
Yeah, well, I mean, this entire episode was like, hey, let's go back to that first episode and let's walk back through the route that they took out of town. That through that first episode.
Yeah.
Went to heck.
So they've got 3 episodes to give us some answers. I have a sneaking suspicion that the answers we're going to get are going to lead to more questions.
Gee, I mean, you think?
Why would you guess that in this show that totally tells you all of the things about it? Nothing is left opaque or confusing about this show. We always have all of the information. Oh wait, there's Titans in the walls.
Yeah.
Titans.
So, yep.
It's going to be a fun time. Buckle up.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, I think that leads us to the end of our podcast here.
That it would be. We did
we actually managed to stretch this single episode out pretty well.
Yeah, we did. We do have a community question.
Oh, do we?
Yes. It's a little off topic, but you know what? It's a question they wanted us to answer. We don't get many of those that we answer on stream. They wanted to know if we know about the 7 Deadly Sins anime.
I am aware of it. I have never watched it. I know that Aoi Yuki is in it, and that's definitely a reason to watch it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
And Forrest, I'm willing to bet that you are a person who's never heard of this anime and also has never watched it.
I mean, does it surprise me that they're about the 7 Deadly Sins? No.
I mean, that's a recurring theme in a lot of anime.
That's a theme in a lot of media, honestly. you name it. Books, TV, movies, video games.
It's everywhere.
Deadly Sins somewhere. A lot of wares. So that doesn't surprise me. Seen or heard of it now.
Well, I hope that answers your question, Andrew Flores.
So, in any case, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week, Sunday 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Be there.
To talk about Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 57 that day. Thank you guys so much.
Coffee.
Yep. Bye!
Bye!
See you all next